Welcome to Supervillain News.
Imagine. It's 1930. Your homeland, your country, your community that you loved has fallen into despair from debauchery and inflation. It was unquestionably their own government who had created the disaster through an intricate and deceitful propaganda system that had become so vastly corrupted that it had to be dismantled and started anew. Crooked politicians and news through propaganda telling you to think contrary to your national heritage and the good morals you were raised with. Imagine standing up for your country, and the media sends out over the wire that you were in the wrong, you were the aggressor, and should be thrown in jail for standing up for what was right, and wanting your country free from a corrupt special interest group. And for the next 80 years, you and your country are demonized and blamed for starting the battle, when in fact it was you and your country who had attempted to lead the most noble and fair battle in history, a battle that defended unmolested truth and freedom for all people and countries to protect your own heritage and theirs. Now fast forward to 2020, we are fighting the battle against the same Zionist special interest group which has destroyed society many times over. Now imagine your homeland, your country, your community that you love, with a planned and staged crisis and a partial shutdown of the US economy for the second quarter, has fallen into despair from the same exact debauchery and inflation that happened to Germany then is happening here and around the world now. This time you can tell by who locked down. Most all the governments are part of this special interest group. By simply looking at how every country that locked down used the exact same propaganda, and like before, you are told to ignore your heritage and forget your morals. There is no denying your government, and now the world's government, have created this disaster through the same intricate and deceitful propaganda system that has become the same vastly corrupted and deeply rooted that once again has to be dismantled and started anew. The same crooked politicians and news through propaganda in every cunning form, telling you imaginary themes to play on any fear you might have, telling you to think contrary to common sense or your national heritage and the good morals you were raised with. Propaganda posters in the form of TV telling you what to believe, with rolling imaginary numbers to play on your fear of death. Didn't you ever wonder what books were being burned, or were you just supposed to be offended at books being burned? One would think repeating history would be funny, until it happened. The people, now just like then, came together and rose up against the debauchery. But inflation will never get better until the money changers are held accountable for the raping of any and every country they go into. We need someone to flip the tables and say no more. Usury must go away. It's the only way for society to thrive and succeed. But every leader that has fought against it has been taken down in one form or another.
Who knows the first two laws that Hitler implemented? Okay, I'll save you the time. Rule number one, no more pornography, no more homosexuality, none of that garbage, not allowed. Berlin in the 30s, in the 20s, was the Sodom and Gomorrah of the day. Outlawed it, and you're no longer allowed, closed all the bars, all the gay clubs, all the production, which were all run by Jewish people. Second rule. What's the second rule? The second rule was, you're not allowed to charge interest. We said no more interest. Why? Because of the high interest that the Jews charged people was so high, it ruined, it destroyed the economy in Germany. They destroyed, just like they destroyed Russia a few years before that through their communism over there. Jews destroyed Russia, not Greek. Jews destroyed. Communism is by Jews. But don't let anybody confuse you. You look at history, Karl Marx, all the other Reshaim, they're all Jews. Wicked, but nonetheless Jews. They destroyed Russia, and he wrote in chapter 2 of Mein Kampf, they destroyed Russia, now they're destroying Germany, that's why I have to destroy them. Now, this doesn't make he's right. The point is, that's actually real true history. Now, Great Depression was happening around the entire world. Everyone was in a financial collapse. America was a financial collapse. England was a financial collapse. Everybody else was collapsing. Germany collapsed worse than everybody else. But after he passed this law of no more interest, within 6 years, Germany became the leading, wealthiest economy in the world.
And then the final solution, which is a year to 2 years off, is the vaccine.
The way people react to powerful messages of propaganda then and now tells us a lot about ourselves.
Our mental and physical health first before we embark upon what is going to be a journey to rebuild these communities back and rebuild them better than they were when we started this fire.
And fast forward to today, 2025, where the Weimar, or is it the Bolsheviks in complete destructive mode to bring the world to its knees for idol worship again. Build back better to communism and bowing to the money changers to rebuild so the communist blocs can be put in place. They will call them smart cities, 15-minute cities. You won't go willingly into a concentration camp, or would you?
But this time we'll retool it a little bit. People don't want to live in 2-room slab apartments. We'll make medium density housing. So you'll have 4 rooms instead of 2.
Trump claims he is for America first, but he is controlled by the same special interest group. How can you tell? Trump has played the same script while his followers are so blinded by the front game that they refuse to look deeper into what he is really saying and doing. It's the same game of blaming others, distractions from the truth, and baiting the people into supporting self-destructive agendas that are camouflaged as the battle for good. It is, in fact, a religious battle against the United States. But then what did we expect when we imported a bunch of Nazis and put them in places of power? There were and are 3 types of people when it comes to blind obedience of the government. Some believed the propaganda wholeheartedly. They were the true believers, those who had no issue turning people in. They were being a good citizen and doing what they were told.
That you always have to do are wear a mask, maintain your social distancing 6 feet wherever you can, clean high-touch surfaces, wash your hands, and avoid crowds.
Others went along to get along. They kept their heads down, not wanting trouble. And then there were the brave few, the resistors. They questioned, they doubted, they spoke up. They were the outliers, risking it all for truth.
Attention all ladies and gentlemen. We have to dump the aircraft meeting. We have to take everyone off the aircraft.
Are you kidding me? You are holding me up for what I have to do. Because you want to act like a child.
I'm not acting like a child.
What point are you trying to prove?
You guys can leave your items.
We gotta stand.
No, you're standing with you.
Standing with you. You're about to stand up and leave.
We were sold a bill that freedom lovers, ones who didn't buy into the bullshit or they just couldn't for health reasons, but they were sold as Karens who didn't wear masks because grandma killer. Some people even got arrested.
But he may be, Bridget, because there's a pop car over there. There's a pop car over there. Do you want some? Tase somebody over a mask.
No, you will literally.
This is an embarrassment to our school.
Please don't do it, man.
Reed, you're fine.
Relax.
It ain't worth all of that, brother.
Come on, sir.
Reed,
don't.
Reed, don't resist. Don't resist. Seriously. Don't resist.
I noticed we were reliving Germany's history. And when I saw we were reliving history, I refused to go along. My question is, what kind of person were you? Maybe it was my own research, calling every hospital they used in the news only to find out there were enough beds for the sick, or maybe it was a deep-seated distrust of blind obedience of known liars and thieves. I chose to question, to dig deeper, to form my own conclusions. I refused to wear a mask or shoot experimental chemicals into my body because someone who claims to be science told me to, because it would be beneficial to his pocketbook.
United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
Tony Fauci, well, so it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science.
Just research all the side effects of chemicals they want you to shoot into your body. When you do, you find out it's the greatest genocide to ever be put upon and supported unwittingly by the masses. Because of propaganda spoon-fed to us by the tentacle of the special interest group, which in this case is the medical industrial complex. It's just, will it be a quick or a long, slow death with long-term gains for the medical industrial complex?
And this country has the finest bureaucratic regulations in the world, and the other countries are way behind.
Cancer is a major business in the country. If you have ideas that might in one way or another jeopardize that economic base, you fall into disfavor very quickly.
You're suggesting that there may even be a conspiracy against cure in a country that has declared war on cancer.
Without that.
Just like they are experimenting on the children in the form of biology is wrong. When you are only taught one side of history, it is easy to repeat. And now they make laws to keep the one-sidedness of history going. It wasn't easy, but it was right. Someone had to stand up. My grandson saw someone who fought back for those who wouldn't or were too afraid to stand up for themselves. I was considered a Karen, called a murderer for actually caring about the health of the elderly, standing in line with masks on in over 100-degree summer heat. I wear that title proudly. It's in my yellow star. Only this star is metaphorical for the worst kind of being there is. They were asked so nicely but didn't conform. They were shamed and shunned and still did not conform to what the special interest group wanted to know. Who would conform? Who has faith in the government and what they said? Silence can be dangerous, especially when you don't question one of the biggest killers there is, Big Pharma. All right, probably a second behind Zionism. When we blindly accept what we're told, we surrender our critical thinking. We become pawns in someone else's game. History teaches us that conformity can have terrifying consequences. The train is only going to take you to your new home of a 15-minute smart city, but be careful of the showers. Sometimes the water can smell like gas. Just make sure the shower door opens out and not in. So, next time you see a news headline, a social media post, or hear a politician's speech promising you this or that, or telling you what is best for you and your health, stop. Think. Question. Don't just accept things at face value. Do your own research. Challenge the narrative. Be a resistor. In a world saturated with information of misinformation by the propagandists we call news, critical thinking is our strongest weapon. They use words of fear like possibly, could, may, probably, maybe. They play on people's emotions and fears to get what they want. That isn't gaslighting at all. Think before it becomes illegal. Remember, there are three sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the actual truth. Don't fall for the propaganda of old disguised as new. The same special interest group is still in charge using the same exact tactics. Only we call them Zionists this time instead. The people are finally starting to see clearly again. They are seeing that Germany was indeed correct. Zionism in all its forms and origin is our real enemy. We are seeing who the enemy really is. It's not one of those diversionary brand names that were created or hijacked by the Zionists. Names like communism, Marxism, fascism, socialism, democracy, and even capitalism, for when they are hijacked, they all fail. When usury is involved, it's not a multi-party system, which is what always leads to self-destruction of the people through civil war. The people are seeing once again that there is only one truly noble fight in this world. The fight against religious rule, theoretical law, and its origin, Zionism. What can we do? I see people doing it already. Boycott. Say no, stand with your morals, barter. Look into precious metals, buy gold backs, use real money backed by gold instead of numbers in a computer, and well, wouldn't all money only be worth the paper it's printed on, whether it's $1 or a $100 bill? I see the propaganda of another useless lockdown and mask wearing. Do not go along. If a store won't let you in, go to one that will, and if you have to, order online. If your doctor won't see you, find a doctor that will. The truth is the only propaganda you need. Thank you for watching Supervillain News. May you have a blessed night or day, depending on where you are in the world.
Brought to you by the government, we'll fuck you production.